So I actually want to go there next and think less about the people in power and more about the people who agree with what is happening right now. And so here's a comment underneath one of Trump's announcements regarding his suit with Harvard. We, the American taxpayer, should not be funding any of these private institutions. To be honest, I believe most of us had no idea, like in many government funding schemes, we were handing over our hard-earned money to elite institutions which do not service the majority. If anything, our higher education institutions indoctrinate and discriminate against our wonderful country and our children. I, for one, do not want one dime of my tax dollars funding these propaganda-pushing, American value-hating, vitriol-spewing, communistic, un-American universities.
What is an American university?
I don't know. What is an American university?
I will say, I think the first part I can sympathize with. Something that is an interesting conversation to have is like private versus public university. As a private university, there are a lot fewer rules and regulations you have to adhere to. And that can be a good thing, or in this time, like a bad thing. I found it very important to organize against like the deportations, etc. Like at Columbia when I was there, and a challenge we faced a lot very often was we have no leverage over the private university except for like our tuition. That is like the only leverage we have over them. We cannot there's very little like disruption that can occur in a sustainable manner because there's zero accountability to like the public and the laws about what universities have to like do. But I think that commenter is right that most people who can't pay $80K a year or now $100K a year and are not getting full rides, which is very rare. And now that there's they're changing the student loan availability, where you can only take out like 20,000 per year, which is not enough if it's however much it is. Yeah, I think I get what they're saying, that like it's not an accessible. These very, very expensive private institutions are not accessible to the general public, to the majority. And I would be better about funding it too. I don't agree with the propaganda bit, to make that clear. But
other thoughts?
I can see I agree with you. I can see where this person's coming from about not wanting to fund private universities, but I've also seen many people who express that sentiment are also adamantly against publicly funded services, and I don't the American people have been misled for decades about what they should be supporting and provided with as citizens of a Western modernized country. People who are like, I don't want to pay for other people's healthcare, or I don't want to pay for the subway, like all that sort of stuff. It's like that benefits you, like I don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like what's coming through in this commenter's comment is a disdain for elitism and for the economic inequality that is, granted, kind of fostered by Harvard, or like Harvard is a product of it and also causes it. I'm thinking about the 2024 election and how many working class people voted for Trump. And I think I've talked a lot about this, I thought a lot about this, like I feel like part of it was a failure on behalf of the Democratic Party to cater to working class voters and like really consider them as an important voter base and just to give them the dignity and space that they deserve in their campaigns. But I think like the sentiment I'm hearing from that commentary is that like Trump is doing something good for the working class by cutting funding from Harvard, and like it's a it makes sense how they came to that conclusion. But let's look at all the other things he's doing that are directly hurting the working class. Like, you know, it feels like there's long-standing, like, distress and upset with the American system as it stands, and Trump is coming through as a bit of a savior, like, you know, nominally alleviating some of that distress. But like, the university funding Harvard is not going to necessarily make life easier, or defunding Harvard is not going to make life easier for the working class.
Yeah, and I think there are other more productive ways to support the working class. And I, once again, circle back to the idea that it's a show. It's something for the media. It's something for everybody to, you know, bicker about and pick sides on. Because, like you said, in reality, it's not actually helping.
I mean, it feels like a psyop, sort of, because, like, I feel like a lot of people, like, Harvard graduates, yes, there are a lot of elites and upper-class people who go into there and come out of there, but I feel like they also, like, value supporting the working class. Like, I don't know what the statistics are, but I feel like more graduates of Ivy Leagues are Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, as the time goes on, the college students in general are more Democratic
Yeah.
and more left-leaning.
Yeah.